Buonasera, an Italian would say. Good evening, I would say. Or good morning, because that could be when you're watching. But regardless of the time of day, welcome to National Treasures Interviews, the interview series done by me, Will Duggan, and Laura Lexx, the spin-off of the podcast that we also host, National Treasures. Due to reasons, we can't go on Lovely Days out at the minute, so we have decided to bring Lovely Days to you via YouTube. We are doing TED Talks for the uninitiated, the cool, the people who maybe relate more to Fonzie than the dweeb Richie Cunningham. This is this. Hello.
For a second then in that intro, I thought you were referring to me as the spin-off, because you went, and Laura Lexx, the spin-off. And I was like, ooh, I didn't know.
No. You are original series, baby.
Thanks, mate. How's your day been?
It's not been bad. It has been snowing today. So the roads were treacherous going to work. But the little wagtails that live around Stansted are ever so tame and have stopped being scared of the testing centre. So popped in today for a little run. And I may have said this in a previous episode, so I'm sorry if I have. They run really fast and their legs go super fast because the floor is very smooth and shiny. When they sort of do a little skid, and I love it. How's your day today?
My day's been very productive. I've got a lot of work done today. And then I had like quite a sitcom-y evening because I had done all my work, so I was like, I'm going to get some house jobs that need doing ticked off. So I've replaced a door handle that was broken on the kitchen, measured up the back door because we've got to have a new back door put in. And then meanwhile, Tom has been in the dining room making a construct out of marshmallows and spaghetti. And I don't know what it's for, but he's made a sort of like a Louvre structure, like a big prism kind of thing with spaghetti strands stuck together with marshmallows. And then he had to go out and I had to guard the structure from the dog. Okay. And it just felt like the most sitcom, in sitcoms where you're going, but why would anybody be doing that? And that's exactly how I feel.
It's very Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, it was weird. It's been odd. But
so you're replacing your back door?
Yeah.
So did
it got smashed in?
Yes, Tom smashed your back doors in, Laura.
Yeah, I had to ring my dad to find out what I've got to do to make it better.
Goodness me. Who have we got on today?
Well, today it's exciting because I've loved every guest that we've had on the show, naturally. But today we've got a guest who I'm genuinely friends with before they emailed and said, hello, can I come and be a nerd for you? Today we're talking to another comedian. So Will and I are going to have to up our games to be our usual hilarious selves. And we're talking to one of the loveliest comedians on the circuit. We are talking to the wonderful Andrew White. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. I watched your last episode that you just uploaded with a doctor, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have a PhD, but it's fine. And now I've got to be funny as well. I've got so much pressure on my shoulders.
Fuck this, Andrew. Do not fuck this.
This is your big break, sonny. Working with Lexx and Duggan on the YouTube. Where are you taking us to, though? Where are you passionate about and why, please?
I'm taking you to the city of Salisbury, and specifically Salisbury Cathedral. It is a place very close to my heart. I went to school actually in the cathedral close, so my education was kind of always overshadowed by the beautiful spire, and we had regular assemblies in there every month. It was a state grammar. It wasn't like super posh private, but I was still very privileged to kind of have that. And I sang in the school choir, so I was quite regularly singing in the cathedral. And I just have so much love and affection and childhood memories that I'm still, because I'm not too long out of school, so I'm still kind of clinging to them quite a lot.
How old are you, Andrew?
I'm 21.
Oh, my God. How nice, though, that you've come out of school with fond memories of a place, not like, oh, I never want to go back there again, I hate it. That's so nice.
It is 800 years old, just over. Actually, no.
That's so much older than you, Andrew.
It is a lot older than. It's a lot older than all of us. We are.
But more specifically,
you don't know me.
We're all spring chickens in the eyes of Salisbury Cathedral. What a weird phrase to say. They started construction in 1220 because so Old Sarum, which is just about a couple of miles north of Salisbury, that is where the cathedral used to be, but it was a military fort as well as a cathedral. So it's built on a big hill with a big dip. It's like proper prepared for attacks and stuff. And the soldiers used to bully all the monks. So they'd like make them trek miles to go get water from a different well and all that sort of stuff. And eventually Bishop Poor said to the king, "Can we please move the cathedral? We're tired of being bullied by the soldiers." And he was like, "Yes." And so they just deconstructed the cathedral and moved it down into Salisbury, where it is now. The legend is that they fired an arrow. They stood on the Old Sarum Hill and they said, "We're going to fire this arrow, and wherever this arrow lands, we'll build the new cathedral." And then apparently it hit a deer, and the deer ran and ran and ran, and then landed where Salisbury Cathedral is now. But that is a very convenient place for it to land because that was also owned by the bishop, that land. So
was the deer perhaps an architect with a good knowledge of land disputes?
If it was, it wouldn't have picked that area of land. It's actually a floodplain. Yeah, Salisbury is
such typical West Country building.
Yeah, it really is. The foundations are only 4 foot deep.
What?
What? The whole building, the foundations are 4 foot deep, and if you go any lower, it's just too marshy.
How does it not fall over then?
It's a miracle.
The cathedral itself is much older than you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the foundations themselves are much taller than Laura.
Oh!
Shall we get the elephant in the room out of the way so we can get onto the nice stuff?
Yeah. Do you mean so that you can do callbacks to Russian jokes all the way through the interview?
Duh. Right, obviously, Novichok, Salisbury Cathedral, etc., etc. I didn't know anything about Salisbury Cathedral before that alleged crime. But obviously, we all now know it's the tallest spire on a cathedral. If you could choose the way for that information to be disseminated to the general population that doesn't involve the KGB, how would you choose to spread the information, Andrew?
Well, as I said earlier, it's a kind of a miracle it's standing, and it has the title of tallest spire because of a spate of many spire collapses across the country. Basically, like Lincoln was the tallest cathedral spire, and that collapsed in 1549. Also
got assassinated?
Yes, different kind of Lincoln, but I like the word association. It's that's the mind of a comic, isn't it? It's, as soon as you hear a word, you're like, oh, what are all the different? I do that all the time.
You are so generous to call Will Duggan a comic.
I'm literally Laura. It's how we met.
Yeah, but you said I was under 4 foot. Anyway, stop it. I'm trying to learn about Salisbury Cathedral.
No, stop it. You interrupted.
I like the extremities of Will going, "Oh, Laura, you're a bit short," and Laura going, "Your entire being is false."
You're a fucking sham, Duggan.
Yeah. Look,
sorry,
I'm extreme.
Tell us about Lincoln Cathedral.
So Lincoln Spire collapsed.
Yes,
and then
there was a bunch of other spires across the country, and they all collapsed. And Salisbury was left standing, 123 meters tall, 404 feet. That is the tallest spire in the UK and the tallest unsupported spire in Europe, because there are taller spires in Europe, but they've all got like buttresses kind of holding them up.
What's a buttress, please?
I'm not a massive architecture buff, but it's just a big kind of stone pillar that kind of props it up, so it comes out. I may be entirely wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it comes out of the spire and like goes into something on the ground. So
okay,
yeah,
we'll put an edit point here. Will is about to tell us exactly what a buttress is.
A buttress is a structure of stone or brick built against a wall to strengthen or support it.
Andrew was 100% right.
Fantastic.
You said you dropped religious studies. Like, my worry with going out for the day to somewhere like a cathedral is, I like the architecture, but is there going to be? Is it still good even if you're not religious?
Yes, there's just the beauty. It's such a beautiful building, and there's so much history there, a lot of which isn't religious history. and there's lots of music, which although is religious music, to quote Tim Minchin, the chords are nice but the lyrics are dodgy. Just listen to the beautiful organ music being played.
Motley Crue.
Motley Crue.
Good chords, dodgy lyrics. One of my favorite Motley Crue songs. The first line is, "You're only 15,
Oh, dear.
but you're the reason I can't sleep." Anyway,
It was fine back in the day.
I think it was still pedo.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not too. That sounds really weird. Despite going to like worships there and singing in the choir and stuff, I don't associate it that much with religion at
To be
all.
fair, not many people do with Salisbury Cathedral anymore.
No.
That's good to know, though. And is it open all the time? Can people go during?
Is there's a little trick, which is don't pay. I mean, unless you want to pay, but the setup of the building, the entrance makes you go through to a little kind of checkpoint, and it's got suggested donations, and it looks like you have to pay to get in. A lot of people think you have to pay to enter, but it's a free entry building, and I don't even use that entrance. I go in the little entrance that says "Do not enter," but I always used to use it when I was a choir boy, so I still use it.
You are a sneakster.
Yeah.
That's us
Breaking in
lost
through God's back door.
any official affiliation with Salisbury Cathedral gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
First thing, don't pay. If it says do not enter, ignore it.
Does it have stained glass windows?
It does, not as many as other places. It lost a lot in the Civil War. A lot got taken down and damaged, and I think some of the original ones were just like sold at some point, like quite recent, like recent history. Somebody was like, "We'll just sell these," and then they just kind of disappeared. So there is stained glass windows, but not loads.
Is it Church of England Cathedral?
It is Catholics, I think. As I say, I really don't associate it with religion at all.
To be fair, it would make sense if it were Catholic, because if it were Church of England, the stained glass windows would have been smashed during the Reformation.
Yes. Also, it must be Catholic because it was built before the Church of England was founded.
No, but the Reformation, they all took loads. Like they've all swapped. We fucking love a switcheroo, don't we? Catholics and whatever.
Yes, yeah, good point. It's like the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. The history of them, they all switch and stuff. And like Lincoln was a Republican, but actually he was a Democrat.
But then his spire fell off.
Another West Country word from Laura Lexx there with spire. You'll notice, Andrew, when Laura's excited, you really remember that she's from Somerset. She's like, Cultural Treasures, Salisbury Cathedral has the largest spire in the country. His spire fell off!
I don't notice it, but what were we recording the other day? And then I went down and said to Tom that you'd picked on me for my accent. Oh, it's the word Earl. And then he laughed at me for about 15 minutes for saying the word Earl.
Could you say that word for us, Andrew? EARL, a member of the aristocracy, is a...
Earl.
Yeah, good lad.
Is a cathedral because it's got a bishop in it? Or is it like a big church and then they give the big ones bishops? What's the difference between a cathedral and a church?
I'm so glad you asked. It is a cathedra, which is the seat of the bishop. So wherever the seat of the bishop is, the cathedra, that building becomes a cathedral. So you could there's a big wooden thing at the end of the choir stalls, big wooden chair. If you put that in your lounge is now a cathedral.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Because a cathedral is one thing that you need for a city, isn't it? It's one of the things that can make a town a city.
Yes, although Bury St Edmunds has a cathedral and isn't a city.
No, because there's like 5 things, and if you have 3 of them, you're a city or something, isn't it? It's like population and or blah, blah, blah. So we could nick a load of chairs and change up.
Yeah, change up, go to little villages and make them cities just by virtue of these. Yes, lots of pews as well. There'll be...
He's good value for money. I love it. What's the best angle? So I've come to Salisbury Cathedral for my day out, and on this day I've had a picnic on the grassy lawns. Where do I get my family reunion post-COVID photo done outside and inside? Best photo spot outside and inside, please.
Okay. Well, outside you kind of want to look at it from the with that's west, east. Then, well, I know the ends of the cathedral. So the west end is the big end, and then
The
the
one
east
with the
end.
theatres.
I did when we'd open up choral services, we'd often start at the west end and then proceed down the nave, and it would often say, "From the west end, the choir will be singing," and I used to fulfil my show tunes dreams.
And is there a market on the East End?
There's actually a window for Amnesty International. So
Okay. Can you say yes for the purposes of a joke?
yeah, it's a stained glass window for Amnesty International, but every other panel says apples and pears, apples and pears.
Lovely stuff. You've yes-anded it finally.
But yes, so from if that's the west, it'll be northeast. So from the northeast, that is your kind of classic Salisbury view. You get kind of, it's at an angle, but you get the spire in at probably the best sort of surrounding frame. Inside, oh, that is tough.
I love how you are thinking, but also you look like you're thinking.
Yeah, this is adorable. Where do I like best in the cathedral?
So outside, northeast of the cathedral.
It's funny you asked about the different angles. Actually, one of my favourite things is if I go to a gig, I come back through Salisbury, is trying to find a new angle because basically every way you come into Salisbury, you will at some point get a view of the cathedral. The kind of the layout of the land and the massive height of it means that wherever you're coming into the city, you will see the cathedral. And sometimes I come back from a little place and I come into a new way of Salisbury and I say, oh, it's a new angle of the cathedral and I've never seen it before, and I get very excited.
That's so nice. Because the cathedral I know best is Canterbury Cathedral, because I went to university there, and the university is up on a really high hill, and so you look down it and you see it in the bed of like the city. But when you're actually in the city centre, it's all in the old part of the city, so you go through all these winding lanes and then suddenly you're there, but it hasn't got that like big space around it kind of impactful feeling.
Yeah, I definitely really love that aspect, and kind of lots of different painters have fought over the best angle and paintings of the cathedral and stuff. Has
anybody ever been murdered in it?
Yeah, some Russian lad.
there are tales of kind of like medieval murder and crime and stuff, but no real famous murders. No. Yeah.
It's us, interrupting us, just to say a big thank you to our newest patron. Thank you, Lisa Kay, for joining the patron squad, the Ramblers. You've become a committed Rambler over on our Patreon page, and we are grateful.
We're so grateful. Thank you, Lisa. Friends, Lisa has unlocked a world of new content. She will be getting our extra bonus podcast, Years and Years. She'll be getting the extras to all of these videos, and she'll be getting these videos as a little podcast that she can download and listen to. But not just that, Laura. We've got goals and plans. Oh yeah, me. To my best friend.
She's also got one of these.
That's me. I signed that with her. I'll tell you a story about those pictures, actually. I signed the whole stack that we did in a dry white eraser pen. Realised they'd come off, wiped them all clean, got a Sharpie, did it again. Hour of my life, the whole thing.
Double signed photos from Will are up for grabs on our Patreon page, is what we're saying. And yes, we have made some plans. We have decided that when we hit 25 patrons, so that's just 14 more, we will be increasing the number of Years and Years episodes to one a week. And when we hit 50 patrons, what's happening, Will?
We're going to go on a week-long National Treasures sojourn. We're going to go on a 7 days round the country. We're going to start off very south, we're going to end up very north, try and hit 7 brilliant days out in 7 brilliant days for all our patrons. Very exciting. Anything else to add, Laura?
No. Back to the video.
I like your hair. Speaking of the medieval, I have done a cursory research. One of the oldest clocks in the world is at Salisbury Cathedral.
It is.
How old is it, please? Have you ever considered smashing it when a bit drunk? And what's it like?
Oh my goodness, I can't remember how old it is. Oh yeah, no, I can actually. It is 1386, I believe.
So what's that, like 186? That's not a real time.
So
it's 26 past 2, I think.
Lovely. It is just, it's lovely stuff. It's not offensive and it's good stuff done well.
Yeah, so it's just over 600 years old. Oh,
I'm so sorry we've wasted your evening with this, Andrew. You've spent all of lockdown gigging with Catherine Bohart and Sarah Millican, and now we're here going, that's an old clock. Tell us more about an old clock.
That's not a real time. That's not a real time. That's not a real time. So, bit of questions. What's it look like?
It is. It looks very unexciting. It's just kind of a framework of metal and cogs, and it has to be wound up every day. And yeah, if you look at it,
you have to go and go, you're a twat.
The clock is really pushed to the side. Like it's not a feature's not made because it has to be where it is because it connects to the bell tower. So the clock rings the bells. It's one of the only cathedrals in the country that doesn't have like official bell ringers because the clock does it every 15 minutes. Yes, campanologists. I would have spent ages and not landed at that word. That is some good vocab.
That's some top-notch nerdery from Duggan. Why doesn't it have bell ringers then? Just never has, or?
I don't know. I don't think it has. The bells aren't really a big feature. There's the bell tower, and then the spire was built on top of the tower, so it was literally kind of trumped.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you've only got 4-foot foundations and then you've got like a 400-foot spire, putting some heavy bells in it is probably not the strongest idea, I'd have thought.
No, I don't know if that's the reason why. Actually, there might be because they're quite small bells.
You've answered all of our questions very, very well, Mr. Andrew White. Have you got a little quiz for Willy Wheelie Dug Dugs and L Dog?
I do. I have some questions for you. See if you can answer these. Which? Oh, sorry. I got a weird.
Listen to the silence. How'd you get over it?
Is it that thing that happens where you just get a sharp thing all of a sudden, and you're like, why?
No, more of like a kind of a bubble of I don't know how to describe it, but it happens quite a lot.
A bubble of Andrew White.
A little bubble of Andrew White, yeah, just gets stuck in the back of my throat. Right, question 1. I'm going to go 2 kind of traditional quiz questions, and then I've got a bit of a riddle for you.
Ooh, I love a riddle.
Okay.
Not good at them though.
The doctor is his mum.
Okay, I've got 2 traditional trivia questions, and then that's it. So, Salisbury was recently in the news again because the cathedral was opened as a vaccine centre, but it was actually the second cathedral to open as a vaccine centre. Can you name the first?
Yes. I'll have that point.
You have to prove
and
that
for
you
a
can
bonus
do it.
point, can you tell me which one it is?
You're such a dad, Will.
St. Paul's.
I'm going to
Paul's?
say...
Are you going to look
It's
in
not
that
going to be
answer?
fucking Durham, is it? It's not going to be Durham. I'm going to say Ely Cathedral.
That was actually the answer to a different question I wrote. But unfortunately, the correct answer is... Did you go St. Paul's, well?
I did.
Lichfield is the correct answer.
Well, I didn't even know Lichfield had a cathedral.
Lichford?
Lichfield.
Lichfield. Oh, yeah, okay.
Who was geographically closer, me or Will? Where's
Lichfield?
Lichfield? Like Midlands, isn't it? So probably me. So do I get that point?
I think, I think you do.
You fucking
Lawrence.
coward. You coward.
But you've got a point for can you name me the other one? So, it's,
So now
it's
we're
one,
even again.
one each.
You absolute legend, Andrew.
The question I was going to ask was if you can name so there's 3 cathedrals without bell ringers. If you can name one of the other ones, Ely and Norwich.
Oh.
So, question 2. A very famous author was a teacher in the cathedral close, actually at my old school. He wrote a book about the cathedral called The Spire. His other famous book was about a bunch of boys stuck on an island. What is that author's name?
William Golding!
Golding.
I mean, Laura did say it first.
you wasted
didn't
all your
on
time
my.
there. Boom, 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 boom,
I
boom.
was just about to say, but you did say bum 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 first.
I had my hands up. That was played properly. William Golding.
William Gold. It is
Well,
William
we've
Golding.
never buzzed in, you loon.
I was just.
I don't know what
Point
to do
each.
there. Yeah, I'll give you a point each.
You're making Andrew uncomfortable now because you're being too competitive, William. Just let me have the
Yeah,
points.
fucking
And
deal
then-
with it, Andrew.
It's indeed William Golding used to live in the close and teach in the close. And the riddle is there's a few tombs around the cathedral. There is the tomb of Henry II's illegitimate son. There is a burial place for Edward Heath, the old Prime Minister, and there is also a tomb for a child. Now I know this is a very dark start to trivia, but something interesting about this child's grave because he is born on May 13th, 1683, and he died February 19th of the same year. How is that possible?
He died in the womb?
No, he was
What
born
years?
He was.
What year?
1683, and that was the year. And he was born on May 13th and died February 19th of the same year.
Did they have to have 2 years called 63 because of a administrative cock-up?
Is that? Are you going to lock that in as your answer?
It feels too stupid. But I can't think of anything
never
better.
know.
Yeah, I'll put that in.
1683.
Mm-hmm. So this is one of my favorite. Whenever I'm kind of giving a little tour of the cathedral, this will be my one thing that I always feel like. It's like,
Right.
have a look at this.
Can I talk you through my thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, like it's eggheads.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking either we switched the style of calendar,
Mm-hmm.
so the May 1683 was actually like say October 82 when we switched to I want to say a Julian calendar or from a Julian calendar,
Mhm.
or I'm going to say that it's post Civil War. It's coming towards the end of Cromwell, so it's something to do with Charles II.
What are you going to go for?
Is one of those right?
You can't ask
Ye-
that.
I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the point. Well, I feel like it's only fair. I'm sorry, Laura, but we switched from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. Not exactly around them, but there was confusion for the stone writers, and that's what they ended up.
That's
putting.
pretty good. I will say, have I had to choose one, I would have gone for that because my answer couldn't have been something to do with Charles II.
Yeah, that is correct. So I mean, technically, Laura got one question right, and Will got one question right, and then it's how we order this. I don't. I mean,
Sorry.
so
Would you like to come on our podcast? We'll make you desperately uncomfortable by arguing too much over a quiz that doesn't mean anything. It's okay if Will won it. He needs it.
on paper, Will 132.
There you go.
But we only actually answered one question. It's because we switched
Yeah.
from the Julian form of counting to the Gregorian midway through the quiz.
But
Do I get a point for that? That was funny.
That was funny. Am I winning points for funny as well now?
Stop giving out points.
I'm.
Do you know what you're like, Andrew? You're like when two kids do a drawing and they go, which one's better? And the mums go, oh, they're just exactly the same. You're trying to make this a draw.
Okay.
I am the winner, and I'm editing the podcast. So that is what will be reflected in the recorded episode.
All right. Congratulations, Will. Andrew, thank you very, very much for the quiz. Thank you.
It's all right.
So if people have had their whistles whetted for Salisbury Cathedral and they're like, oh my God, I just want to go, but obviously can't right now, is there anything in pop culture like a film or TV or a book that features Salisbury Cathedral that they can see it or read about it or get more excited for it?
So there's some lovely, beautiful pictures online on Instagram. I just search the Salisbury Cathedral hashtag and sort by most popular, and there's some amazing pictures. In terms of written text, William Golding, as mentioned earlier, wrote the Spire, and it's never named as Salisbury, but that is about Salisbury Cathedral, and there's a lot of similar descriptions. And in this book, I have handily to hand. Yes. Who is not really a kind of a history writer. He's more famous for writing slightly saucy, saucy for the time, books like The Virgin Soldier. And he lived in the Salisbury Cathedral Close right to the end of his life. And this is assorted stories about the cathedral and the close and Salisbury, but specifically the cathedral. It's called Almost Heaven by Leslie Thomas.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's cute. A little halo. Yeah. So, amazing.
And
thank you so much.
What kind of person or people would you recommend should go on a day out to Salisbury Cathedral?
Oh, that is, I think it is a place for all. Come one, come all to Salisbury Cathedral. I will say that when I'm giving tours or just going around it generally, there's a lot of slow movers. So if when I say come one, come all in order of walking speed, and then we'll work our way the cathedral around the cathedral like that.
And what's it like in terms of accessibility for people who, if we're maybe in wheelchairs or very slow at walking? Or,
it's all kind of flat, and there's lots of ramps, and there's I think the entrance that I use illegally has a ramp, and that might be why it says do not enter. Actually, I just worked that out. Never mind. But everything's pretty wheelchair accessible, other than the spire climb, because you do have to go up all the old stairs and stuff.
And is there like braille or audio help and things like that if you have sight or auditory issues?
Yes, there is. You can have there's tour volunteers. I don't think there is an audio tour, and a lot of the display text there is, I believe, a braille alternative.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like a great day out.
When you said tour volunteers, my computer audio glitched a bit, and it sounded like you said tour volunteers. Like, oh, she's got rid of Dean. It's now Tim. And where, Andrew? Where on the internet or social media can people find both yourself and Salisbury Cathedral?
You know what? I don't have the Salisbury Cathedral socials to hand. I'll quickly search them whilst I give you my...
don't worry. We'll find them ready for the video. We'll go...
Okay.
If you just move your mouth a bit, and then we'll edit them in.
Okay. The at handles for Salisbury Cathedral are...
Nothing is being edited there. I thought I could stop this or let it happen. And I'm going to let it happen. I'm just going to let that happen. I'll put it in text, but it's not, this isn't an episode of Mr. Ed. If you just mind, we'll pop it in. Will I fuck?
It's a shame, because you know what, they do have some nice social media output.
Fuck him, no, we're not going.
I'll put it on in text, like when you say, oh, I don't know, and you start miming, a nice little bit of white will just flash up with, at, I imagine, Salisbury Cathedral.
I've just looked it up. It's actually at Salisbury Cath.
This is getting edited. Now. No way. I'm not going to miss that joke.
Salisbury Cath sounds like a sort of famous sex worker from the 15th century, doesn't it? Salisbury Cath she always had the red light in her window.
And what's your social medias, Andrew?
My social medias are at StandUpAndrew across Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and on Facebook it's just Andrew White Comedy.
You're allowed on TikTok. You're 21. Yeah, that's not... I can't go on. I'm like a member of Motley Crue. Right, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a delight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Goodbye.
Thanks for coming.
Goodbye.
That was the lovely Andrew White, everybody, who's joining us, talking to us about Salisbury Cathedral. If you are interested in finding out more about Salisbury Cathedral, then go to hashtag
Done? Yes, you can go to @Salisbury Cath for all the things I put in earlier. If you like us, National Treasures, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter @TreasuresPod. You can email us, nationaltreasurespodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to have edited you out of this bit, Laura, as well. And you can subscribe and like the videos. It's really good for the algorithms if you subscribe to the podcast. And if you like us and don't want us to starve to death, you can also contribute to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/National Treasures Podcast.
Yes, and if you go to our Patreon, you'll see that we've done lots and lots of different tiers, and you can choose a level to support us at. So if you just like us a tiny bit, you can just give us some pennies every month, and we'll send you National Treasures merchandise. You'll have access to all the extra things that we cut out of these shows, which for this week is a lot of and not a lot else, and lots of other ways to make us happy. And if you give us a very large amount of money, you can come with us on a day out. Imagine how irritating we are close up. But that's it from us this week. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you again to our wonderful guest, Andrew White. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.